Hello, Soapboxers. Welcome to Up on the Soapbox. This is episode 13. At this point, I should probably stop and talk about the lucky number 13. I am a bit of a superstitious kind of guy. Dan isn't, as you may know. I knew because we have this conversation all the time. So I was going to skip 13 and go right to 14, like many elevators do. But I decided to stick with it because we do have a special guest with us today that doesn't believe in that kind of nonsense, although he may. I'm just putting words in his mouth. But we'll get to our guest Brad today in a second. Dan, how's it going, my man?
Everything's fine. I'm kind of staying inside with the air conditioning here. It's kind of oppressive outside. So, I like it hot, but it's just that combination of hot and humid and oh my goodness, it's like mid 90s and humid out here and yeah, I'm going to stay in the air conditioning.
It's one of those rare moments that it's hotter up in the Philly area than it is down here in Charlotte because we're at 88 degrees. But I think we are all on the same page where we say we're thankful we're not up in Portland or Seattle these days because they're the ones really suffering. So I know weather talk is very compelling and we can continue to talk about the weather for as long as we want to. But why would we do that when we have a very special guest with us today? I'd like to introduce Brad Adolph. He is the Senior National Sales Manager over at Clothpromotions Plus. They are a Soapbox founding supplier, and we couldn't be happier that they are on board the Soapbox. And also, we couldn't be happier than to have Brad with us today as our special guest. Brad, what's happening, my friend? Good to see you.
Hello, guys. Good morning, and glad to be with you today.
Great. So why don't you spend the next few minutes telling us about your experience here in the promo world? I know you're as much of a fixture here as Dan is. I won't lump myself into that category quite yet, but we know you've been around and you're a very familiar face in this business. So tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, first of all, let me, on behalf of Cloth Promotions, congratulate both of you on your success. We are very excited and to be a part of one of the founding suppliers with you. And today I'm your baker's dozen interview, the number 13. So that's how I look at that as well. But to your question, yes, I grew up in the industry. My first official job was right out of college in May of 1977 in the family business of ours called Masterpiece Studios, Embassy Masterpiece. And it's interesting. I was thinking about that as you were posing your question. This is kind of a circle of industry moment because I started in a family business and now I'm very proud and privileged to be able to work for the Opper family who own Cloth Promotions, another family business out of Boca Raton, Florida. But my career in the industry started, as I said, at Masterpiece. I was very excited to then spend a couple of years, 5-6 years at Barlow as their national sales manager. And I was a multi-line rep like Dan was for many years. I had some of the most well-respected companies in the industry that I represented in the Midwest, like Providence, Pilgrim Plastics, other companies, Prime Resources as well. It's interesting how that.
Did they have to start with a P? Is that?
I had everything that started. I did have Arel Manufacturing, but their parent company was Plastic Arts. So yes, I did have all of those as well. So and then I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to buy into a company called Telephone Products. We were the first tech company in the industry. My partner invented an item called the Untangler, which went on the end of your phone and kept your phone cord from getting tangled. We were in retail. We private label for AT&T, Radio Shack, Belkin, General Electric, and we then moved it into the promotional products business, being one of the first companies to come out with Ethernet cords and modem cords and flash drives, and sold that several years ago. But
what are cords?
Cords are they're something that was attached to your phone.
Okay,
which is why I sold the business partner, because there were, things were changing. But yeah, I am really, this is a great cap to my career in this industry, having the opportunity to work at Cloth Promotions and head up the rep organization around the country and be very much involved with the Opera family.
So what's the history of Cloth Promotions then? I mean, did they come into the industry with a singular product and have expanded it out, or did they have a full line when they entered the market?
It's very interesting. Norm Opper, who is the founder of the company, I joke with him sometimes that he was kind of the P.T. Barnum of promotional products, because he had this idea. He was selling into optical for many years, but this was not used as a viable promotional product. And they went to their very first show with his sons and his wife, and they had a table, and they didn't know what they were doing. And people started getting interested in it. He would walk up and down aisles of airplanes showing people product. And I love to say now, when I do my meetings, I don't have a business card, I have a business cloth, and I offer my business cloth. So it truly is, he really, and with his sons, really truly built this into the premier company for now almost 14, 15 years in the promotional products industry.
What would you say is the core competency of the company?
Well, when are you talking about product or?
Yeah, well, service.
Product is our CPP 5979, which is a 6x6 full color, full bleed cloth in a pouch. But what's really neat about this is we have positioned ourselves as very much as of a marketing company. We're more than just someone who slaps a logo on a piece of product. We have a team that works with our distributors on behalf of the end users to develop programs, marketing tools, virtuals, all these different things. So we are very much that ad agency kind of flair to it as well. But the creativity that we can do, and we can do domestically, because we are a domestic supplier and the first company to offer this product, as I say, into the industry. What we do, on cloth is what some people do on paper and other substances. It truly is, again, personally, in the 43, 44 plus years I've been in the industry, the graphic capabilities that we are able to achieve are amazing.
So let me hop in here for a second. The Clothpromotions Plus, what's the plus represent? Obviously, you're not just focused on the cloth promotion.
Well, when I joined the company, I thought that was about me. I learned later that the plus had nothing to do with me, but we are beside the cloths. We do cooling towels, 4 different styles of cooling towels, which are great. If you're doing golf outings, or even in the medical community, if you're going through, dialysis or rehab or something like that, that you can do that. We do our flex fiber series of headscarves that you've heard them called a yowie or a buff that you can use when you're working out. We have, many different SKUs and items, from hand sanitizer to eyeglass cleaner, all across the board. But one of the things, it's interesting you bring that up, Brett, because one of the things, that in that circle of industry moment, as I said, when I worked as a rep for Prime and Providence and all those things, they stayed so true to their core competency of product. And that's what cloth has done. We have started with a 5979, a 6x6 cloth, and we have done adaptations off of that in our core competency. So, we're not a pen company. We're not a mug company that does this. We have stayed so true to our core business.
Like it. And there's something to be said about that, coming from companies that did cover a wide array of product. Well, and it certainly makes your job a lot easier, Brad.
It is, because I can remember item numbers easier.
And it's becoming more rare these days. Everybody's adding on to their product line, different categories and everything else. And when I travel around and talk to distributors, a lot of them specifically say they look for people that have a specialty, that specialize in a certain area and are experts in it. So I think that's a feather in your cap.
Well, it's the old expression, jack of all, master of none. And, it's great for our reps. I mean, we have a great core of reps around the country, from the Flanagan Group down south to Paul Sprunk and Tim Rossica and Lisa Bennett and Maureen Dwyer and Todd Turquan on the West Coast. All of our guys that are out there, and it allows them to focus on our products and not worrying that there may be a cloth or something else in another line as well. So that it helps them as well, I think.
Now, when you make that list, why do I want to sing the song? Which one of these doesn't belong when you mention Paul's name? I don't know why. I'm sorry. It was my first opportunity to tease Paul.
I'm sure you'll appreciate it.
I'm taking it. Okay. Very good.
What's your FOB point, Brad? Are you shipping out of Florida?
We ship everything out of Boca Raton, Florida.
Okay. And made in the U.S., shipping out of Florida.
Made in the U.S., shipping out of Florida. All of our, everything is done in our facility in Boca Raton.
Well, that's a great winning combination. No wonder you're doing so well. And the reviews on our platform really show that, how well you are doing. So kudos to you guys.
It's been a lot of fun. You've had one of the neat things, just if I may, is your platform. You have brought to us some very very good quality individuals. I do a lot of these. Before the pandemic, I was doing 15 or 16 of these traveling shows, the room shows, if you will. This platform that you've put together is hard in and of itself, but it's even harder to bring to the suppliers, which you've done, quality salespeople from quality companies. And we do appreciate that. And quite honestly, we've seen the results specifically from people that I have met with on your platform.
Thank
We'd
you.
like to hear that, because that's something we hang our hat on and we pride ourselves in. So
That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, we really appreciate that feedback.
Thank
Brad.
you.
All right. So let's talk about our soapbox moment. And
Sure.
today we're going to start with Dan, because I actually, just before we got on here, I went back and looked, and I see I went first last week. So Dan, take it away, my friend. What's on your mind?
Okay, what we're gonna do today is simplify. Okay, we're just going to actually what people use sort of as a generic analogy point, and I'm going to discuss chocolate versus vanilla, and I am going to make the case for vanilla. Now, when you look at chocolate and vanilla, for some reason I think of ice cream all the time. When I'm picturing chocolate and vanilla, I'm thinking of ice cream, and I would say that both are delicious. It's like comparing the Beatles and the Stones. It's really a moot point. They're both awesome. They're both great. You happen to have a preference one way or the other. I'm going to give the edge in this case to vanilla for versatility. I believe that you can do more with a vanilla base. I mean, do you put chocolate on your a la mode pie? I mean, I know Misty from 3M doesn't, but I mean, if you're going to have apple pie and a la mode, are you putting chocolate on it? I'm asking you, Brett. Are you putting chocolate on there?
You're asking me? Hell no.
No, of course not.
No.
Right.
No.
Brad, how about yourself? Are you a
Dan, I'm a vanilla guy, and I will, just as a segue here, like many years ago, and as you know, my dad is 95 and a little bit in failing health. When I was in high school, he sent me a cartoon from the New Yorker, and it was the ice cream shop that had 300 flavors.
yeah.
And the caption was, "If you want vanilla, take vanilla." I'm a vanilla guy. Maybe I go off on the edge with a little butter pecan, but I'm a vanilla guy.
Yeah. But I mean, you're adding things to the ice cream,
Sure.
you're putting anything, the base is like a cherry vanilla or anything else. I just think it goes better with a vanilla base than it does a chocolate base. So there you go. Quick soapbox moment. A shout out to vanilla. And sounds like I've got you both in my corner here. So
Yeah, you do. I'm a vanilla guy in many ways, so not just by flavor.
taking nothing away from my chocolate friends. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I guess that leaves us up to me now. So I'm going to talk about something that most people could probably relate to, but this is very specific to the area in which I reside right now. So let me preface my remarks by saying, I was born in New York, raised in New Jersey, spent 40 plus years of my life in North Jersey, 30-ish miles due west of New York City. So I'm very familiar with the New York metro area. And that's where I learned how to drive. And I drove in the New York metro area for approximately 30 years until I decided to relocate down here to the Carolinas. And I just got to say, what the hell is up with Carolina drivers? These are the worst bunch of drivers I've ever come across in my entire life. They're going to blame us. They're going to say that it's all because of us northern transplants coming down here and clogging up the roads and whatnot. But I will say, when you drive and you learn to drive up in metro areas, and especially up in the New York City area, you learn to drive aggressively. However, it's very predictable. At least you know that the guy in front of you is going to cut you off. At least you know that the guy is going to jam on the brakes. Down here, there's no rules. And I think we touched upon this last week in another segment that we were talking about helmet laws. There's no laws. There's no rules. People are doing whatever the hell they want. And like I said, I'm sure there are many people in many cities around this country that are thinking they have the worst drivers. But until you experience this area, you ain't seen nothing yet. Carolina drivers are horrible. I'm not going to even go any further on my phraseology. They're just plain old horrible. It's dangerous. And the fact that I've had to train 2 of my children to drive in this area is frankly terrifying. I'm going to leave it at that.
And
Hey, if you're over a certain age in Florida, you're required to drive with your right directional signal on.
They don't even give you a left one.
only turn right.
All right, Brad. The show is yours, as they say. So tell us what's on your mind today.
Well, it's interesting, and I use a phrase both in my career as well as in my private life about, as I call it, paying it forward. I have been very fortunate to be in this industry, as I say, for over 40 years, and much of my success has been with the people that have come before me, that have been able to guide me, and I have called on for advice, over the years. Names that people on your platform today may never even hear about. But it's interesting how I'm a big believer in that, and I'm a big believer that there's an expression I use, Lador Vador, from generation to generation, and how the generation of today will help the generation of in the future. As you guys both know, beside my involvement in the industry, I'm very involved in not-for-profits. I've had the honor of sitting on the board of the Boys and Girls Club and work with the Crohn's and Colitis Association. But mostly, I serve as a international vice president of an organization called B'nai B'rith, which we operate 39 nursing homes. We do human rights around the world. I get the honor pre-COVID of going to the UN in Geneva as well as in New York. But there's something very nice about helping people that you don't know. This terrible tragedy that happened in Surfside. The nexus that I'm trying to make is that when this happened last week, I reached out to Jared Opper, and I said, Jared, B'nai B'rith has opened up a center right in the Surfside area. What can we do? Within 3 hours, we had sent over 350 blankets. We'd sent over 4,000 masks, hand sanitizer, all those things. And what I would love to have as my, I don't want to say it's a legacy, but as in this industry, maybe that is the word. I would love to see us as an organization do as much as humanly possible for the charities and the organizations of our choice in this world, whether it's however we can do it as a supplier or distributor. And that is my belief of paying it forward. The successes of my industry have been because of other people and people that have taught me and guided me. And I'm proud to be able to work with younger people today, like you two, much younger people than I am, to share my experiences. And the same thing with philanthropy. And I appreciate you allowing me getting on my soapbox. If one thing comes of this, everybody just in the industry and in your private life, just pay it forward.
Well, you're not going to get an argument from either of us, and in fact, I've always admired that part of you when I,
thank you.
That I've known you over the years, and I always I know you're concerned with that, and you're interested in that, and you pursue those things, right? And it's not just a lot of sort of talk about it or thought about it. You're a doer. And it's wonderful. It's really, really nice. And it's a great message. Thank you for sending it out here on our little platform. But
thank you.
I concur. I think it's great.
I have a one-word response. Preach. That's it. Good job, man. That's
well, thank fantastic. You. Brad, is a wonderful thing, and I'll leave you with this. There is something very special in life when you can help people, but you don't know who those people are. And what you do causes a reaction, and you don't need to know who it is. And it's not about self-worth. It's not about self-adulation. It's knowing that action A does action B. And there's something nice about that. And I appreciate you for letting me get on my soapbox.
And we certainly appreciate you sharing that and sending that message out to
all
of our viewers. So we appreciate that. Continue with that good work too, Brad.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So this is the last part of our podcast today. We're going to ask you a yes/no question. Again, as a reminder to our audience, you have zero knowledge of what we're about to ask.
But I have a guess.
Go ahead, guess.
It's Cubs or Sox.
It's not quite that simple.
Well, it kind of is. It almost is, though. But...
Don't ruin it, Dan. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. All right, we're gonna explore the world of cuisine.
I already know your answer to the Cubs or Sox. That's right.
We're gonna explore.
You've been with me, Dan.
That's correct. You took me to my one and only Wrigley game. There you go.
So put yourself back up in Illinois, not Florida. Put yourself back up in Illinois. And we're going to ask this question here, and now be careful how you answer because we do have a mixed audience here, and we want to make sure that we're not offending anybody. So here's the question: is authentic Chicago deep dish pizza, is it better than authentic New York style pizza? And by authentic, I mean getting it from those areas, not a shop in Florida that says New York style or Chicago pizza.
I would say that Chicago deep dish
Hold
pizza.
on, excuse me.
Oh, hold on.
This would be a yes or no question.
Oh,
Is
I
Chicago-
apologize. I
is
apologize.
Chicago
I'm a
pizza-
sales guy. Yes.
Chicago deep dish is better.
Yes.
Here we go. All right.
All right,
Please,
strap it
please
in.
expound on that.
Well, I mean, deep dish pizza was pretty much invented in Chicago by Ike Sewell. I'm changing my memory, who was actually the founder of Uno's and Due's, and then I believe was involved with Lou Malnati's, which is now part of a national conglomerate owned by Buffett's group. But it's just, I grew up on it. I mean, I grew up on it, but I will tell you, and I'm not a politician, and I don't play one in this industry. When I'm in New York, I always have pizza there. It's as good and it's different. But yes, I'm a Chicago deep dish guy. The nice thing about that is and if you ever come to Lou Malnati's in Chicago, which is great, make sure you get the sausage pieces, not the chunks, the slabs. It's much better.
Okay.
All right,
good.
well-
I knew you were going to say Chicago.
I had a feeling
I knew
too.
you were going to go there.
Shouldn't it? But the reality is, shouldn't it be called Chicago lasagna?
Why is that?
You know, it's real thick. It's layered. It's like a lasagna. That's it.
Wow.
All right, I'm alone on that one. Never mind.
You lost
All right.
me.
Any other further debate on this topic, Dan?
No, but I'm going out for pizza.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. There is no wrong answer.
I used to kill time at Malnati's right outside of O'Hare before while waiting
sure.
for a flight. So I did dabble a little bit into deep dish, and I would agree. I think it's good, but I don't know that you can really compare the two because they are distinctly different.
I agree. It's just like the Cubs and Sox.
And the debate will continue long after this podcast is over. Speaking of which, thank you for joining us today, Brad. We had a great time. Thank you for
guys.
sharing. We appreciate having you on board as founding supplier on the Soapbox. So come and see Brad and Clothpromotions Plus on the Soapbox. Thank you.
Thank you guys so very much.